The Holy Gospel according to Matthew. Glory to you, O Lord. Jesus said to the disciples, "Beware of practicing your righteousness before others in order to be seen by them, for then you have no reward from your Father in heaven. So whenever you give alms, do not sound a trumpet before you, as the hypocrites do in the synagogues and in the streets, so that they may be praised by others. Truly, I tell you, they have received their reward. But when you give alms, do not let your left hand know what your right hand is doing, so that your alms may be done in secret, and your Father who sees in secret will reward you. And whenever you pray, do not be like the hypocrites, for they love to stand and pray in the synagogues and at the street corners, so that they may be seen by others. Truly, I tell you, they have received their reward. But whenever you pray, go into your room and shut the door, and pray to your Father who is in secret, and your Father who sees in secret will reward you. And whenever you fast, do not look somber like the hypocrites, for they mark their faces to show others that they are fasting. Truly, I tell you, they have received their reward. But when you fast, put oil on your head and wash your face, so that your fasting may be seen not by others, but by your Father who is in secret. And your Father who sees in secret will reward you. Do not store up for yourselves treasures on earth, where moth and rust consume, and where thieves break in and steal. But store up for yourselves treasures in heaven, where neither moth nor rust consumes, and where thieves do not break in and steal. For where your treasure is, there your heart will be also." The Gospel of the Lord. Praise to you, O Christ. Nothing gets a bunch of clergy and seminarians so riled up, it seems, as a singular Facebook post advertising an upcoming Ash Wednesday service with glitter ash. Yes, you heard that right. Glitter ash. Popularized in 2017, the glitter ash movement was organized as a way of making a statement, to take the ubiquitous symbol of the ashen cross traced on our foreheads at Ash Wednesday and mix it with a bit of glitter. The idea being for progressive Christians to be more visible not just as Christians, but as a particular kind of Christian. The kind of Christians, for instance, that might fly a rainbow flag in front of their building or proclaim Black Lives Matter on their sign. Not surprisingly, this movement has taken hold among queer and queer-affirming Christians in particular, and in fact, the practice of blessings with glitter goes back even further to the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence, an LGBTQIA+ activist organization formed in San Francisco in 1979 that uses drag, religious imagery, humor, and a bit of irreverent wit in its commitment to community service, ministry, and outreach to marginalized communities, and in their words, to expose the forces of bigotry, complacency, and guilt that chain the human spirits. Even so, when my own seminary shared their plans on Facebook earlier this week for a glitter ash service today, on Ash Wednesday, I was conflicted. And I was clearly not the only one. Now, on the one hand, I get the thought behind it, proclaiming not just the symbolism of mortality in the ashes, but also the hope and resilience in the glitter, particularly for marginalized communities. And yet, on the other hand, even presumably as a part of the target audience for glitter ash, I realized I need the ashes more. Not to mention that I actually hate glitter, which might just be a lingering effect of the trauma of working as a holiday temp employee at Pier 1 Imports, where I learned that it's apparently not a Christmas ornament if it's not covered in glitter. But I digress. Maybe this Ash Wednesday, more than most, I need the honesty and the promise of the ashes. The gritty black oil and palm ashes. Earlier this week at our Monday night Bible study, in response to the very icebreaker question I posed to the group, what is your most meaningful Lenten memory, I was reminded of my own. It was 2012, and it was my first time participating in Ashes to Go. Along with one of my pastors and a fellow churchgoer, we stationed ourselves just outside of a Blue Line train stop on the north side of Chicago during the busy morning rush. After a while of imposing ashes on the foreheads of Chicagoans on their way to school or work, I'll never forget the moment that came next. An SUV coasting down Damon Avenue, a fairly busy street, slows down as it approaches us at the train stop. The driver's window rolls down, and a woman, spotting my pastor, yells out, "Hey, can you come here and do the kids real quick?" And so he did, right in the middle of Damon Avenue at rush hour. I've participated in Ashes to Go several times in different places in the years since then, and what always strikes me is the response among those who stop to receive the ashes, grateful for the opportunity to participate in this ritual when they might otherwise have not been able to make it to church, or simply have forgotten all about it in the busyness of their weeks. It's easily one of my most meaningful Lenten memories for the church and the people I first got to do it with, and for the ritual itself, a reminder of our mortality, our creatureliness, and our utter dependence on and connection to the earth to earth, ashes to ashes, dust to dust. Ultimately, these ashes are a reminder that we're not the ones in charge. Today on Ash Wednesday, in one of the most extended rites of confession of the entire church year, we will confess our shortcomings, our failures, our brokenness, our human limitations, both personal and corporate, not for the sake of feeling sorry for ourselves, but because we know and trust that God's mercy and capacity to forgive and to heal are always deeper and wider than we can ever conceive or imagine. The 17th century English poet and priest John Donne puts it this way in one of my favorite poems. "Wilt thou forgive that sin where I begun, which was my sin though it were done before? Wilt thou forgive that sin through which I run, and do run still, though still I do deplore? When thou hast done, thou hast not done, for I have more. Wilt thou forgive that sin which I have won others to sin, and made my sin their door? Wilt thou forgive that sin which I did shun a year or two, but wallowed in a score? When thou hast done, thou hast not done, for I have more. I have a sin of fear that when I have spun my last thread, I shall perish on the shore. But swear by thyself that at my death thy sun shall shine as he shines now and heretofore. And having done that, thou hast done. I fear no more." There's the sign of hope for me, the ashen cross. Faithful cross, true sign of triumph, symbol of the world's redemption, the hymn sings. I need the honesty of the ashes. I need the reminder of my mortality, my finiteness, my limitations. I need the reminder that I can't do it all and that I don't have to. I need the reminder, too, of my connection to the earth, to the Creator, to my fellow creatures. I need the promise of the ashes. Will you meet us in the ashes, writes contemporary artist and minister Jan Richardson? Will you meet us in the ache and show your face within our sorrow and offer us your word of grace, that you are life within the dying, that you abide within the dust, that you are what survives the burning, that you arise to make us new. And in our aching, you are breathing, and in our weeping, you are here within the hands that bear your blessing, enfolding us within your love. There is an honesty and a promise in these ashes, the gritty black oil and palm ashes. In the ashes is a rootedness to God and a connectedness to one another. In the ashes is the cross, not denying the reality of death, but confronting it head on. In the ashes is the promise of life within the dying. We need these ashes. We need this cross, this ultimate sign of subversive, resilient hope, of death transformed, of life renewed.